Uh,
Jeff, why didn't you tell me that you could still see me when you I said carry on without me. Everyone's frozen. You just said will do. You didn't even
You're
say
gonna
anything.
jump off. That's why.
I didn't want it to mess up the recording.
Yeah,
Now we know
you
it
weren't
won't.
bad. Like you were just sitting there, and then your phone went off, and it was like, all right,
And we're like,
time to go.
Oh, that's gonna be
dude, get
fun.
out of here.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Hit it.
Rolling.
Nick, ready?
Dude. Yeah.
Jeff, ready?
Yep, let's hit it.
Mike, ready? Yeah, guys.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and couldn't think of a second thing to say, Mike Fisher, along with it just like every time my co-host Nick Spill Stoll and Jeff Heartbreak City Gregory. Let's turn some
Got
rumors
his
into facts.
ass.
Barely.
Barely. Got
I mean,
him.
luckily you were sleeping for the end of that game, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah.
So you just had to wake. You had to wake up to the pain. You didn't have to live the pain.
I almost lived the pain. I had a heart attack damn near. Oh, Ron's pissing me off. Mooney pissing me off.
Now, see, I was on a plane that whole time, so I didn't get to watch any of that game. So I just got out to like 6 texts from Nick about how he was upset and then he was happy, and I don't know. So
The roller coaster.
And upset, then happy again.
pure roller coaster of emotion. But we'll get into that matchup in good time. So, week 9 money winner was me with Jonathan Taylor. Congrats to Coach Mike Fisher from Commissioner Mike Fisher.
Congrats, Mike and Mike.
This upcoming week, we got the highest scoring wide receiver taking some money home. So we'll have to throw our bets on who we think's going to go off from a wide receiver front. I was going to spoil who I'm picking, but I won't. I'll save it.
Yeah,
I'll save
not yet, dude.
But
Better not be the same as me again. Like the
So I gotta find one. We'll do that
Oh,
later.
just let it come to you. Pick with your heart.
Yep.
my
That
God.
usually works out pretty good.
Always. Let's hop into the recap.
This here's the Radish Recap.
Radish recap coming in. We got the SCLSU Mud Dogs and coaches Joe Harper and Troy Heck taking on Ball as Life and Coach John Lamers. Ball came into this as a 12-point favorite. All of us thought John would roll, and he barely eked it out on Monday night, 86-85. Najee Harris doing just enough to put it away. Nick, I'm going to throw it over to you first. What did you see in this one?
Just looking at John's side of the ball, that Stafford didn't look great. They were putting a lot of pressure on him. I think they said there was 4 total sacks all season, and then like 2 or something in the first quarter, and then the interceptions kind of comparable to that. As you can see, when the Rams aren't playing well, his team's going to suffer just like Kyle with Arizona having those double stack here. So barely squeaked it out. Chase not a great game either. Since he didn't look good against Cleveland.
No.
Yeah. Got the dub, though, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah, came away with a win, but Mike Williams hasn't been what he's been, what he was at the start of the year, so that'll be an interesting thing to watch. Jerry Judy's getting more involved, a little better than he was last week, so curious how that continues to trend here. Jeff, what about the Mud Dog side of the ball? Another goose from Darius Slayton.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there, especially when you lose by less than 1 point. You look at what you could have done, and Slayton putting up a 0 is, pretty obvious the reason why. But the other thing too is, you look down on his bench. Pat Fryermuth had a pretty nice game in there. He's been rolling with Schultz and Pitts, So, I don't know if he gets any consideration in that flex spot going forward. And then really the only bright spot is Mixon. That Cleveland Bengals game wasn't bright by any means or good for anything with Bengals aside from Joe Mixon. And he's the only one that really did anything in that game positive. And fortunately for Troy, he's just got to ride out the Patty Mahomes and the struggles that the Chiefs are having. And, I think it's on John's side. He's really lucky he walked away with the win on this one because his team didn't do good. And, Troy's team had a couple plays here where he could have won and should have won essentially. So.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of juggernauts barely walking away with wins this week. John being one of them, a team that's been playing really good and is fortunate here. Maybe this makes up for his luck earlier in the year, taking a 150-point loss. The fantasy gods giveth, the fantasy gods taketh away. Moving on to our next matchup, we got Lick McCaff and Coach Jordan Chartier taking on Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stelzer. Jets came into this one as a 20-point favorite. That line was a little too rich for me and Nick, but Benny said, screw your line. I'm giving Jeff the win, 131-76. Took it to him. Highest scoring team on the week this week. We weren't real high on Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got it done, though. Everyone from Indy was scoring, JT was scoring, Nyheim Hines was scoring, throwing 3 touchdowns. It was just an all-out offensive output there. So, outside of that, James Conner, was electric, but, not or in large part with Benjamin, or not Benjamin, Chase Edmonds missing almost the entire game, getting hurt right away. DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray already being out, they really had to lean on him, and he came through. That's a huge day for him. He was the highest scoring running back on the week. Got to be nice for Benny to see that on his bench. And Delvin was fine, Booker was fine, Diggs has just been fine, and that's what he's doing. But it was enough to give him a real solid output here. Jeff, over on Jordan's side of the ball, what you seeing?
Yeah, it's just, his wide receivers out there, just nothing too great from all 4 of them. The highest one being Cooks at 8.6 there, and really a guy, Aaron Jones, that I thought was going to have a really good opportunity to score a lot of points this week, just didn't. That whole Green Bay offense struggled for most of that game, and I was a little surprised that he was held in check and only came out with just over 5 points. So, just an all-around kind of subpar average performance from everyone on Jordan's squad, and just not enough to obviously unseed Ben putting up over 130 points, but just not a good week in general for Lick McCaff and my Dak squad.
Yeah, and I wonder if it was McCaffrey just kind of getting eased back into it coming off the injury, but that offense as a whole just doesn't look good. DJ Moore is suffering a lot of the same things. But Nick, what else do you see in this one?
That same thing. Kupp still decent game after the struggles with the Rams there. 15 points output there. Dalvin Cook, 13.7, 110 rushing yards, no touchdown. I thought they said last week or maybe the week before they're getting more and more involved. We'll see if that results in a touchdown here. But, yeah, Benny's rolling. Connor, I think Edmonds is out with a high ankle sprain, right?
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit here.
Yep.
Right, I can't hear anyone again.
All right, well, we it looks like we lost Nick again. That's exciting. You'll see in the interview later that Nick's computer has not been fun for anyone. So, moving on to our next matchup here, we got I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe taking on Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley. Lefties were a 4-point favorite in this one. I had faith in Cooley here, and Cooley took the win, 120-101. Jeff, I'm gonna toss it over to you first. What did you see from Cooley in this one?
Yeah, Cooley side, Lamar Jackson putting over 30 points. You gotta love what you see there. And really, Kelsey had a nice game. He had that touchdown there, and probably the biggest surprise is Devontae Smith is really coming into that kind of wide receiver one first option, and especially last week. So him getting over that 20-point threshold was a good outing, and I know Cooley's happy to see that. But just once again, Chase Edmonds got hurt. That's unfortunate, but really didn't factor in the win or loss column because he was able to sneak away with that 20-point win there.
Yeah, and you look over at Kyle's side of the ball, right? This is a different game if Kyler Murray's in there, if DeAndre Hopkins is at full health, because he's able to, get something out of his quarterback position, only losing by 19, 20 points. It's within range when he's not getting 6 points from the quarterback. So, this isn't going to happen every week, but it's not like Cooley didn't deal with, Chase Edmonds getting hurt right away, getting almost no points from him. Everybody has those problems. If you're on Kyle's side of the ball, you got to maybe start to have some concern. CeeDee's not been putting up great games for you. Tyreek and that whole Chiefs offense just has not been what they have been. So there's some bright spots in there too, but some of those guys that, you feel like you can count on, you feel like you have to play every week, are just, not putting up, not being as consistent as they were. Nick, we got you back? You're back in full strength?
I'm here. Hello, this is me.
We could hear every word you were saying, but your body was not matching what your mouth was doing. So it was truly set up for those of you that don't actually watch the YouTube to be fantastic. Everybody else is going to have a confusing time. But what else you seeing in this Monroe and Cooley matchup?
I jumped in a little late, but I think you guys hit on most of it. That Tyrod Taylor start, he looked like dog doo-doo. Hill, I think you called that earlier, the Kelsey Hill. You thought Kelsey was going to get his, so that was a good call by you. In a low-scoring game, but Chubb, stud. He's got COVID now, right? He's out next week.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Potentially, unless he can get back. But
out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas taking on Archduke Fish and Coach Mike Fisher. Dukes were a 13-point favorite in this one, took the 111-82 win. Jeff, I'm going to toss this one to you first. What you see on my side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor right there, he was the money winner prediction or highest scorer, and putting up 33 points, that really propelled your team. And really you got a lot of good outings too from your Kittle, him coming back. You got to be happy seeing that. I know your start sit question, you didn't know if he was going to be on kind of a pitch count or snap count, whatever you want to call it. And he was out there, and when he was out there, he looked good. He had a touchdown there, really nice outing. Then also Marquise Brown, he's been kind of a surprise or bright spot in your lineup there for a couple weeks now, basically this whole season. So he had another solid outing for you. And about the only thing that's kind of, surprising or disappointing would be your Jacoby Myers and then your kicker, I know, which you battled all year and had some difficulties. So, but yeah, I think Greg might be cemented on the bench here going forward.
I'm not glad that Greg has COVID, but my fantasy team is a little bit glad that I have a firm reason to sit him. Yeah. Like you said, getting 0 from my kicker is, that's such a tough part with the amount of variance that's there. Right? I'm taking a 13-point loss automatically at the position. Derek Carr just having, I think, his worst game of the year. He's been, actually been playing really, really well. Pretty much all season, and one of 2 games that he's dudded all year. I just got fortunate that Joe Burrow did even worse on the other side of the ball. Yep. So speaking of the other side of the ball, Nick, I'm going to toss it to you. What you see in there?
Yeah, we talked about that Cincy game. Burrow played terrible. DJ Moore right there, it's been tough. Quarterback plays just awful. I mean, he's such a stud, but goodness. And Ayuk, is he starting to get, I think it's 7 and 8 targets the last 2 weeks. Is he starting to roll maybe? I don't know.
Looked like hopefully he matched Kittle and Debo right or out for, they are all right about the same amount of targets. So seems like it's nice getting split up pretty even.
He's just so talented that it was only a matter of time before he was going to get a game or two in here where he was going to be kind of the stud. So Joe timed that one out right this week.
Then A.J. Brown, lastly, they didn't have to do anything on offense, so sucks for him. Disappointing loss for Joe Tom, Mr. Consistent. Little under his consistency mark, though, huh?
This is true. Yeah, that's. I think I might have his scores up in front of me here. Let's see. Lowest output of the year for Joe there by about half a point.
By half a point.
So
still counts.
Still counts. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the host battle. Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory taking on the Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll. A dead even line here. Taint takes the 199 win. Nick had faith in himself, rightfully so. Got the win just barely. Nick, walk us through that Monday night game and your side of the ball.
I don't even want to relive it, really, but Mooney, I fell asleep on the couch, woke up to Mooney getting that rushing touchdown, pissed off. Continue to watch. It's a really close game. Allen Robinson catches that bomb. I'm like, okay, give me a little bit of room here. Then Mooney gets that receiving touchdown. I'm like, fucking shit. So Ben needed, I think, 2 points or something like that on that final drive. He goes down, gets the 2 points, but then does that stupid spike when he could have ran the clock all the way down to like 3 seconds, not even give Chicago the ball back. And, I was so pissed off. I was sending the group message, just text after text, I think like 6 or 7 of them, like Mike said.
So, no one responded either.
Jeff sleeping, I'm on a plane.
Yeah.
Tony just didn't want to respond. I don't know.
Yeah, he might have been sleeping too.
It's about as tight as it could get. Jeff, walk me through your side of the ball and your side of the matchup.
Yeah, pretty much. I liked obviously what I saw out of Matt Ryan. He had a really nice outing and finally got to capitalize on that. Didn't turn out into a win, but was pretty positive showing from there. But probably the biggest thing is the Rashad Higgins. We talked about Troy being a little disappointed with the 0 from Slayton, and same thing on my end, getting 0 out of a guy that would or should have stepped up and at least gotten a catch or a target or something. He just wasn't involved much in that game, which was kind of surprising, and came away with the goose egg. But when you lose by about a point, just over a point, you start looking at what you could have done differently. And, there's a few things here, but nothing that I really would have considered or done differently going into it. So about the only thing would have been maybe playing, Rager for Higgins. And even at that, he only had 0.5 points. So it's like it's a toss up and you still lose. So it's like, you do what you could. But if anything, you're just from my end, Harris got hurt. That kind of sucked. That it was kind of midway through that fourth quarter. I'm sure he probably picks up a little bit. And even Cooper, he had 2 receptions on the day, and I think they both came on like the first drive or the first quarter there, and just was blanketed. So definitely some opportunities, and Nick, a win's a win. So nice job.
Yeah, you mentioned Rashard Higgins, and obviously you didn't have much for options. But, looking at his game log, it's the first time since week 1 that he hasn't even gotten a target, right? And you'd think, Odell's out of town, a game they put up 42 points, that, you would think that he'd get something, right? One catch could have won you this matchup. And that's disappointing. Like you said, there was nothing really you could do there. Anything that would have won you this game was stuff that, would have made no sense for you to do. Like, you could have set Damian Harris for Ramondre Stevenson and picked up a cheap point, or Dallas Goedert for Evan Ingram, but those aren't moves you're ever going to make. So that's at least, you can take solace in that. But no, Nick doing just enough and pushing to 5-4, getting a couple wins here. Would you say, you mentioned in the group chat, Nick, your playoff percentage from CBS went from like 14 to 50% over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, since the winning streak started. Year of the Taint, maybe. We'll talk about all the injuries next segment.
Yeah, the Taint is making a little bit of a comeback here. So, Moving on to our last matchup and our third just real tight matchup of the day. We got Cobra Kai and Coach Kyle Stankowski taking on the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher. Football team is a 9-point favorite in this one. We all had faith, did not cover it, taking the 73-71 victory. Jeff, I'm gonna throw this one to you first, and you pick which ugly side of the ball you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'll go on Kyle's side of the ball here, just because there's a reason why too, Mike, that I want to pick him. So let's hear it.
Jeff's worst coach of the week.
Yeah, so Kyle Cobra Kai takes home the worst coach of the week, lowest outing total from any of the matchups. Going against a guy that scores less than 73 points and you still walk away with a loss. That's pretty tough to sneak away there. I know it looks like he has some injuries here for guys that was in his lineup, but just not a good performance from really anyone other than Melvin Gordon, who had above 16 points, and everyone else on that lineup just, I would say, less than average outings. And he had some points on his bench and some opportunities and some plays that could have went with, and looking back probably should have. So that's why he gets the worst coach of the week.
Yeah, we've talked about this pretty consistently with Cobra Kai's team here. Is you didn't have any options. There was no play you could have made to win the game, but pretty much every week Kyle can look at his bench and say, I could have picked up 30 points here and won this game, just because he's got such a he's got a lot of depth, but they're not must plays where he has to, he feels the need to, I have to start, other than the Devontae Adams you're starting every week, the Adam Thielens you're starting every week, but a lot of those guys are kind of, they're in and out, they're flowing, and the decisions just haven't quite been there. If he starts hitting them, he can probably win pretty much any game, but he's just got to get that lineup card just right. So other side of the ball for you, Nick, what you seeing from Tony?
Low output for Eckler and obviously Josh Allen. But Dan Arnold continues to roll here. Decent amount of target share in that win against Buffalo. Justin Jefferson, a good game with 15 points. I'm waiting for him to really explode one of these weeks. McNichols got it done for him, though, in that late game. Just barely snuck it out. I know Tony had a bunch of bets against McNichols, just emotionally hedging.
He needed 3 points from him, and he damn near didn't get it. So,
which is surprising. I would have thought that he would have been a lot more involved in that game.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Adrian Peterson, but
no.
Right.
You would expect him to pick up something.
I agree with you, Nick. It was pretty ugly all around. You don't expect this very often from Tony's team. Couple injuries are plaguing him. Devontae Parker out and Antonio Brown out, and he is really not set up to cover those. Exactly. Elijah Moore had a great game on his bench. Could have got some cushion by starting him, but is that a sustainable thing, or is when Corey Davis comes back and then Zach Wilson's back the next week, is that a sustainable thing, or does that just go right back to what it was? So before we move on from this matchup, Nick, I got something for you.
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
Flipping it back this week to old times here. We got the bum of the week being Josh Allen. Terrible. I mean, it's 9.56 points, but shoot, they're playing Jacksonville. I thought he was going to absolutely explode. Still got the dub, Tony, but Josh Allen is the bum of the week.
You know what? It's our show. We can do whatever the heck you want. If you want to switch segments, you do that. We can do whatever the heck we want. Overall, bad day of predicting for all of us. Everyone went 2-4 this week, so Nick retains his 5-game lead over both me and Jeff. So we will.
Kind of surprising spread too. Like you look at some of these, it's like, Mike, you were the only one to get it right. I was the only one. Nick was. We kind of had a a variety of picks, and for it to all work out as 2 and 4, just
it's crazy.
Kind of a crazy week, So
Yep. So it'll it's I don't know. I got to pick up some ground here at some point, but
got some double ups
Double
coming
ups?
we'll get to there. But
Oh God!
let's hop into the matchups. Actually, before we hop into the matchups, why don't we take a chance to sit down with Cooley here? We had a little opportunity to sit down. Well, at least 2 of us got to finish out the interview.
Right.
spoiler.
Spoiler alert! But no, we got to talk to Cooley a little bit. So why don't we hop into that interview right now? All right, welcome into to Coach Alex Cooley of Grizzly Adams. Welcome, Cooley.
Good to be here. Good to see you guys.
nice to have you on the show. I know last time we had you in the show, it was a lot of preparations for the baby room. I see you're in there, but we can't really see what's going on behind you. Maybe
I'm not in the baby. I am not in the baby room.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why you can't see behind me, because you can probably see some of the outlines of what happened before the preparation of the baby room, among other things. But baby room is occupied by a sleeping baby right now, so
okay,
no
that's fair. We'll try to keep Nick quiet, but no promises.
There's 0 promises on that
I'm
one.
so loud. Why am I so loud? I don't get it.
We'll hop into some football topics here though. So big win this week, and it puts you to 1 game back for the division lead, but also 1 game ahead of last place in the division. Real tight right now. So walk us through where you see yourself in the division, how you see this division shaking out. What's the end of the year projection looking like for Grizzly Adams?
It's interesting because that feels very similar to last year. I was in a very similar position last year. I was, the middle of that year, I was just hanging on, right? I mean, it was like, just don't drop too far below 500, right? Try not to lose 2 in a row is what it was. I just lost 4 in a row. So I'm very happy, very fortunate to get a win this week against last week against Kyle. I needed it, right? Like things were on the verge of slipping off the rails a little bit there. And it was a big week. It was nice to see Lamar and Kelsey. Kelsey had a solid week. I think the biggest difference between last year and this year right now for me so far, one, Koo hasn't been out of his mind for, 60% of the games, but he's been better. He's been better here recently, but Lamar and Kelsey were my X factors. I say X factors. I mean, those are 2 high caliber guys, but like Kelsey struggled a little bit this year. He's been solid for the most part. Had 2 games that were, really subpar, but he's been solid. I haven't gotten the big performances really out of him as I did before. And those were game changers for me, right? They covered up for my running backs. They filled in for any other gaps that I was really seeing. Lamar's been pretty good. I gotta, I've been happy with him. He's at 1 or 2 weeks there. With him sometimes it's one of those things where he's really good at the end of games. He floats a lot for those first half, first 3 quarters of games, and it's always bothered me a little bit. But man, he's been pretty tough. So. And I look at the 4-game stretch too, this 4-game losing streak, and it's like, I did the math on it. I was going to do it again before I came on, but like, I think it was something stupid. Like my opponents were averaging like 146 a game over those 4, or 136 a game over those 4 games or something like that. So it was like, I was just getting, I couldn't have expected reasonably maybe one of those games, like 195 from Tony.
Yeah.
Kudos, not winning that one. And then, but there was a couple more that were like, very rarely am I winning these games. So I didn't have great weeks either, but I think I had 100 plus in one of them, 123 against Tony. I had 123, I think, against Tony. And it's like, yeah, never going to win that game. So it's just been one of those things where it's like, I'm trying not, like, don't panic. don't panic and just see what happens, and that's what I did last year. I was just playing one of those games where, like, Barkley was out. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see if I can make the playoffs, and you never know, and talk a little smack along the way and see where it goes. And obviously it turned out, and there's still a lot of games left. I still have 3 division games left. I've got a couple, 2 or 3 more outside of the division. So it's like, there's a lot. I technically control my destiny, right? So it's like, if I won out and Fish won out until our game, like, if I win out, then that means that he could win every single one of them, but he's going to lose to me at the end. And I've got the tiebreaker, right? So like, I still technically control my own destiny. Not that I'm expecting to win 6 in a row or whatever, but I mean, that's where I'm at, right? It's just,
I like the 2-step process in there. It's like, don't panic, and then don't panic.
I mean, sometimes it's hard, right? Like, especially when you can trade draft picks and stuff. It's like,
yeah, it's easy to make a knee-jerk reaction at any point in there and say, oh, okay, this is, you see the writing on the wall, you see it going downhill, and you say, all right, do I commit to it? Do I start selling off pieces? Do I do something? I did that early last year because I won my first 3 and
about trades.
3 and
your trade. What are trades you want to make? What are trades you already made and you want us to grade them? Decide who wins, who loses. Maybe guys that you potentially want to trade for. We're talking all about trades.
Nick,
you got something? Put it in the
all right. Well, after some technical difficulties where I don't know what the hell Nick was doing, we kicked him to the curb, and me and Jeff are going to do this as a 2-man interviewing crew. So Jeff, why don't you take it over?
Yeah, I don't know what Nick's deal was, but it is what it is. So, Cooley, you kind of touched on the trade deadline and some trades, with the deadline right around the corner. You made quite a few moves earlier this year with some running backs. Do you see the Grizzly Adams squad kind of being active, trying to make a late push here, or do you think your squad's set up for a late season run and a repeat for a championship?
With those moves that I made, took some heat for a bunch of backup running backs, obviously. But I mean, if you compare them to the I don't even know if they'd qualify as backup running backs that I had before.
Mike Davis does not qualify.
And Mike Davis he's a piece of work, is what he is. I don't know where. Never say never, but like, I don't. Looking at my roster and kind of where I'm set up in a lot of ways, I don't know what I'm gonna get out of for what I what I have for draft picks right now to even deal with. I'm not really that excited about moving a whole lot of people that I have. I think I like my roster construction overall. With Dobbins coming in next year, hopefully healthy there, more or less filling the same spot that Barkley had been. Like I said earlier, we're going to see what happens this year, right? And you never know what kind of streak you can get on, how you can start to hit things. But I feel pretty good about, whether some bad weeks. I had some bye weeks here recently. I try and just trying to be patient on it. But I really did like the moves that I was able to make for those running backs a few weeks ago. And I don't, I just don't see, unless somebody, you never know, somebody could come to me with a proposition that could maybe even further, boost me at that running back position and give me some higher quality depth. I don't really see it happening. I don't know. I don't really see it happening. So I'd be surprised if I make any moves before that deadline. Then again, historically, before this league, I've been very trade averse. So I'm not one to be seeking out a ton of these trades. And a lot of times they come to me and I'm just kind of reacting to trades that are proposed. So, I say I don't see much there, but I've proven, I think, over the past couple of years that, I am willing to make a deal if it's there. And it's something that I can see some strategy to in my head, whether or not everybody else sees it. I don't always know, but
yeah. It seems we'll see. Especially this year, you've been a lot more into the trades, even versus last year. But to your point, maybe that's just people hunting you out instead.
Yeah, there's some pieces of my team too that I just didn't feel like I had very much depth in some places that it just is going to kill me over time. I felt like so. I tried to make some moves to get a little bit more depth on across the whole roster and not just in one or two positions. But
yep, I am a notoriously risk averse team builder, so to say. I get real jittery if I don't have one or two reserves that I feel like I can plug in at a spot. I hate not having depth. It grinds me, so I'm always,
especially running backs, man. Like running backs are the worst.
Running backs are tough.
God, running backs are the worst.
Jeff would know.
You never know, man. You just never have any. I drafted DJ Dallas in about the 30th round of our startup draft, right? And it's like that dude's been a legitimate, like actual, I might get 6 points out of this guy player, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks out of these past two seasons. It's like, what the hell is that? I mean, running back situation is there in the NFL? I don't know. So those are
and not so much like this year because Mike Davis hasn't been too good, but like last year, I mean, you rode him for a lot of weeks, and he performed for you. So it's like you just don't know.
I think you guys gave him a lot more credit than he deserved last year too. If you go back and look at it, like
it was him compared to who else you were going to play.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it was. I think more of the credit came from the fact that you went from being up a creek to a guy that could get you 8 points.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So. Looking at some of the other teams in the league, maybe outside of yourself, outside of our division, any dark horse teams that are maybe didn't start so hot, didn't right now are sitting right around 500, maybe even under, just hanging around there that you think are going to make a late run here. You think are maybe someone that can be concerned about?
John, I mean, you'd be crazy not to think it, right? I mean, he's got, like, you guys, whoever pointed that out in the Slack the other day, like, he made all those moves and he took a lot of flack for it. But Jamar Chase has been a stud this year. Jamar a stud. Najee Harris is a stud, right? Like, I mean, he has shown, and he had some bad breaks there early on, I think, in some of those games, and you knew it was just a matter of time. That's not a guy that I'm very excited about seeing in the playoffs. If I'm one of those higher seeds, no way. His record may not show it, but if he's able to get in the playoffs, and anything can happen with him. I think. I mean, he has the firepower to do some damage.
Yeah. We've been on John's team for a couple weeks here, and on the flip side of that, Cooley, those top teams, is there anyone that you think is more likely to fall out of kind of the playoffs, or someone that's up there that you're not a big believer in at this point?
I don't know about not a big believer. I wouldn't go that far, but I have been closely watching, I think, Monroe's team more than anybody else's this year. And obviously that team, I mean, when Kyler's right, his team's a different animal, right? When Kyler's right, because Hopkins is on a different level, and he's like freaking Kyler Murray is stupid on a fantasy level too, right? So like when he's healthy, when he's right, but there's not a ton of depth there. I don't think on I still have a hard time with Patterson, as a starting running back. He's been pretty good, it's worked out. It's just like, man, it's hard to look at that and be like, feel great about it, and he's got great top end talent, but there's just something about, I don't know what it is. Like, I think last year too, and this year, he got off to such great starts at the beginning of the season when everybody was in there and playing. And the middle of the season, like last year, the middle of the season, there was a little bit of a dip, and then he hit. I mean, he went on a great run at the end of the year, and that very well could happen again this year. But I don't know. There's just something about his team makeup that just I wonder about later in the seasons. Sometimes it seems like there's guys that are consistently year in, year out great for the first half of seasons, and then they just kind of trail off towards the end. And I wonder about his team a little bit with that. But then again, I mean, he very well may win the whole damn thing. So,
and the stretch at the end of the year last year coincided with Darren Waller having 40-point game, 30-point game, 28-point game. He went electric at the end of the year, which really kind of rounded out his roster for him to make that late push. You see kind of a similar thing. Waller was injured. He's been kind of hit and miss for a little while here. So to your exact point, if he suddenly gets right, Kyler comes back right, it's obviously a scary team.
He's a juggernaut, right? I mean, when his guys are right, Tyreek, the Chiefs haven't been the Chiefs, right? So like Tyreek hasn't necessarily done what he's done in the past, right? It's like when he's right, I mean, they're unless Tony goes and scores 195, like he's almost impossible to beat. But a lot of guys, it's getting to the point a little bit where he's got to have a lot of guys hit to really be there because it's just some of the kind of where his roster's at and maybe some of the depth pieces. So.
Yep, for sure. All right, Cooley, before we let you go, time to give you the spotlight.
Cooley's Southern Perspective.
Take it away.
We were doing a dance.
We always dance.
Yeah. So last year my Southern Perspective was on crawfishing, if you remember, right? So
I do.
I was feeling a little bit under attack, I think, at the time, and so I introduced everybody to the term crawfishing. I think it was prescient by the end of the year. Obviously, we saw what happened. So this year, I was thinking about this and what kind of Southern perspective could I give the boys? And biggest thing that came to mind, Hurricane Ida came through here this year, right? And at one point in time, that storm was probably going directly over this bedroom right here. The eye of that storm literally was tracking over our neighborhood at one point, and it moved to the east little ways and really messed up a lot of towns down around the coast and to the east of us, but we made it through okay. And one thing that I don't know that all you northerners are aware of, but there's a thing that down here people call hurricane parties. And so hurricane parties are people from Louisiana. They like to drink, if you didn't know that. So it's a very much a drinking state if you've ever been down here. So what they do, and they're also stubborn, they don't want to evacuate. So during the hurricane, they'll just go and gather up a lot of liquor, maybe have some friends over, and they'll just kind of powwow in the house with their generator going, and maybe in the dark with some candles, who knows? But as long as they got some liquor and beer and ice chests, they're going to be okay, and they're going to ride out that storm and come out on the other side and just pick things up and keep on rolling. So when I was thinking about that earlier, I was thinking about Hurricane Ida, hurricane parties, and I was thinking about myself and I was thinking about my team this year, and I was thinking about, damn, that was a 4-game losing streak. Oh man, and I just got smoked that whole way through, right? I'm getting buzzsaws, 140 a night, and I'm like, you know what? It's a little bit like a hurricane party. I'm just kind of camping out, trying to be patient. Let's make some trades, have some entertainment value here along the way, and see if I can boost a little bit of roster. But it's like I just got to batten down the hatches and just kind of got to ride it out. We got to ride it out, come out on the other side of this thing, and see where we get to. So Grizzly Adams and the boys have been having a hurricane party here for the past 5 weeks or so. So the win against Monroe, we might be in the eye of the storm, and it's just a little bit of a let up, and we're going to hit the back of all this thing here in a second, or we might be on the other side of it. I don't know. I might still be hurricane partying right now, and I don't even know it, but we're gonna find out.
Yeah, hopefully you don't wake up with a massive hangover.
That's right. That's right.
Hunkering down and hoping there's not too much damage to the roster. So
that's pretty much where I've been at. So that's it for you for this year. That's this Cooley's Southern Perspective is talking about some hurricane parties.
Sometimes you just got to hunker down and make it through.
Yep, I like it.
Well, I hope that this was a little less hostile than maybe last time. I don't know if you are still number one.
I don't know if the interview last time was hostile. I felt like every week
everything else.
Just leading up to it every week.
I also did. So leading up to it every single week, I was just getting killed for Corey Davis and Justin Jefferson. So I haven't necessarily heard that all year this year. So
I don't know if you might not be number one enemy of the show anymore. I don't know who is, but I don't know if I can call you longtime friend of the show yet. So we'll work toward it.
least you haven't called me bitch yet, so that's been
Not
it's
yet.
Yeah, we made it through a couple of weeks and a full interview without that coming out. It's a little
Yeah.
surprising there.
Yeah.
So
Just wait till
you
week
know you're on
14.
the up and up.
yeah, wait till week 14. That's right.
It's incoming. So, all right, Cooley. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Happy to be here. Tell Nick I say hi. I'm glad he was professional.
Yeah. All right, Cools. Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks, Cools. See you, buddy.
Yep.
All right, well, we're back from that. Nick's back with us through the power of technology magic. But that was a good interview with Cooley. He's slowly working his way towards friend of the show. Not yet, but slowly.
Yep. He has not been catching that much hate, which is kind of surprising, Mike. You might have to pick up your pick it up against the rival there.
It'll come. All right, let's hop into next week's matchups.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
Husky League matchups. We got the SCLSU Mud Dogs at 3-6, taking on the Aaron Rodgers football team at 7-2. The football team is a 26-point favorite in this one. That's a hefty line. I'm not really sure how I'm going to pick in this one yet, so I'm going to do the hostly thing and send it to Nick first. What do you got in this one?
Oh, I don't know either. I wish you would have went to Jeff first. 26 is so big. It's so hard for me. Initially, I was like, all right, Troy, no doubt. My mind, especially after a crappy week last week from Tony. But starting Gore and Lev Bell in your running back positions, that's going to be super tough. We put Frankie Muth in there. I don't know. Is Ben even going to play? He was hurt his shoulder. I heard some stuff about it. I don't know. Who knows if he's going to? It's not.
Big Ben's been on the injury report like half the year this year, and he still just plays.
That's very true.
I mean, you've seen how athletic he is. If he's slowed down, it's not going to be much different.
Athlete! Yeah. I'm going to take Tony, I think, on this line. Eckler should have a bounce-back week. I know Pittsburgh's pretty high against opposing running backs. They're third-ranked, but I think Swift will get her done coming off that bye week. Josh Allen, big bounce-back week. And also, it's not even in the starting lineup, but if you want to hook me
Nick's
up
garbage
with that,
time all-star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
I was not aware that it's not in the starting lineup, but
yeah, right. Dan Arnold here for. I think it's going to go off. I just want to get another one wrong here. I just want to get back into my losing ways and picking garbage time all-stars. Never get it right, so might as well try it again.
Yeah,
might as well. Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna toss this over to you. So Nick, you got Tony in this. Jeff, where you at?
Yep.
Oh, kind of the same boat that Nick's in. 26 is a huge line. So when I first was thinking I was going to go Troy, but I'm going to go Tony as well. And I like that Josh Allen matchup. I like Eckler. I think we alluded to it earlier that Justin Jefferson, it's only a matter of time before just a monster game. And, against the Chargers there, I could see that being a pretty high scoring matchup between the two. So I could see him getting some points there. I don't know if Brown's going to play in Tony's lineup or not, or what he has for another option if he doesn't go. But I think there is enough there, and it's more that I think Tony has a decent bounce back, and I like his players a lot more than, that Gore and Bell running back room, and even kind of his wide receiver group over by Troy. So for all that, I'm going to go with Tony this week, covering that large line.
Yeah. I hate this. I'm going to take Troy and Joe to cover. Yeah, I would take the Mud Dogs. I don't want to, but I need to make up some ground, and 26 is hefty. I will say, it looks like Latavius Murray's not going to play. Lev Bell should, he's been getting some decent runs, so maybe he does well. Mahomes has got to bounce back eventually or not. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a division game, so hopefully they're pulling out all the stops and he can get something done. But Emmanuel Sanders and Christian Kirk are both solid plays, especially if Kyler's back. He said in an interview today or something that he thinks he can be back, but that's the player talking, not the coach or anything. So
yeah. If D Hops really hits too.
So I'm gonna go with the Mud Dogs here. I think they'll do enough to get it done to keep it within 26 at least. That's it's just a bit rich for my taste. Guys, got anything else in this one?
Nope.
No.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Grizzly Adams at 4-5 taking on Cobra Kai at 4-5. Grizz is a 12-point favorite in this one. Jeff, you get this one first. What you got?
I'm going to go with our interviewee this week. I'm going to pick Cooley. He touched on, Lamar Jackson doing good things for him. Deebo Samuel in his lineup, Deontay Johnson, Kelsey. I like what I saw out of Smith last week. There's just guys here that I think are hot and have potential to put up some pretty big numbers in some pretty favorable matchups, in all honesty. So, big thing over on Kyle's side of the ball too is you just never know who he's going to go with. I think he's got a pretty solid lineup here. Just don't know if Robinson is going to be fully healthy. He probably should be, but there's a couple question marks over there for injuries that lead me over to Cooley's side. So that's where I'm rolling with.
Yeah, for me, 12 points is. That's a good line. That's a really good line. That has it right on the edge for me. I think I'm going to go Cobra Kai in this one. I think Hurts does enough to keep it tight with Lamar. I don't like that Cooley's forced into playing a Mike Davis, who we've been very down on, but he's kind of stuck, right? Khalil Herbert is on bye. Chase Edmonds is hurt, so maybe he could slide a Tony Pollard in there, but.
Or Hines.
Or a Hines, yep.
Yeah.
But that's just that's not a super exciting play there. Over on Kai's side of the ball, I'm thinking if Aaron Rodgers is back, Devontae Adams is going to have a great game. I think he's got enough over there. I think Kyle can keep it tight, and I'm going to go with the Cobras in this one. Nick, how about you?
It's close. I think I'm also going to go with Kyle in this matchup, and it's basically hinging on if Aaron Rodgers is back for Devontae Adams against that crappy Seattle defense. Actually, I don't like that James Robinson start at all. We saw Derrick Henry do nothing against that Indy run defense, so I would try and pivot in a different option or a different direction, especially if he's not 100%. But that's just one of Kai's. Every week he has to try and figure it out. So
yep, exactly.
I don't know what the other option would even be. He's got so many of them.
I will say that is a game that Derrick Henry played 3/4 of on a broken foot, but
that is true. But I mean, game script too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with the logic. I'm just defending the man that I have to defend.
Your boy,
the king,
the king, if you will.
I'm contractually obligated to defend him at all times. So,
understandable.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got I Am Left-Handed at 6-3 taking on Benny and the Jets at 7-2. The lefties are an 8-point favorite in this one, and it is our
hot diggity dog. It's the game of the week.
Yeah, a couple big winning teams here. This is an important game, for Ben in the sense that he got the win over Tony, so he's got that tiebreaker. But if he loses the tiebreaker here to the lefties, that's potential number one seed, a killer for the number one seed, and puts him within striking distance in his division. If a Nick or a John wins this week, they're one game out and got to play again. So. This game will kind of determine if he's got cushion or not going into that those late season conference games or division games. And for the lefties, falling a game back from Tony here, it's definitely one that he needs to pick up. If he drops to 6-4 and Tony were to pick up a win, it'll be tough to make that up late in the season. So I think it's a solid pick for our game of the week. I'll go ahead and take this one first. I'm gonna take the Jets here. I'm gonna take the Jets to cover. James Conner's thrust into a nice role. It's a tough Carolina defense, but he's gonna be relied on here. Dalvin Cook's got a nice matchup. The rest of those guys I think are gonna do just enough and keep his team up there. Benny's been one of the highest scoring teams week over week, and I think he gets it done here. Nick, I'm gonna toss it over to you. What do you got here?
I got Ben as well. I love almost every single one of his matchups here. Diggs against the Jets. You got Kupp. I think they're going to bounce back big. I know it's on that prime time, and everyone was talking smack about Stafford choking in prime time, but I think they're going to bounce back big here. Lockett gets Russell back hopefully this week. He should, right? It sounds like he's coming back. He hasn't been activated off IR, though.
Which is weird because it means he can't practice, but you'd think they would have done it by now, but it does sound that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we talked about Connor as well. I'm still taking Ben, but I'm going to take Patterson as my highest scoring wide receiver this week against Dallas. Yeah.
Is he a wide receiver, though?
No, but I'm taking him.
Actually, this is an interesting strategic. I don't know how we would do that. If he plays him in a wide receiver spot, he counts. If he plays him in a running back spot, he does not count. If he plays him in a flex, he counts.
Counts? Yeah.
Can you play him in a running back spot?
I think you can. I think he did last week.
He's got dual citizenship.
Dual citizenship.
I'm also gonna go with Ben on this one. I really, really wanted to pick Kyle after hearing what you guys went with, but just to try to make up a game. But to you guys' point, I like all of Ben's matchups more than I like Kyle's. I just don't know if Murray's gonna play, and if he is are they really gonna let him run around and be the Kyler Murray that we're used to? He has Freeman in his lineup, which could be a decent start, but it's a Thursday night game. I don't typically like those, and he's a little bit older. You always got Lamar there, and we've seen from Lamar him to pull it around the goal line and take it in himself. But big thing on we've highlighted pretty much every single player on Ben's, but Wentz against the Jaguars, that's a nice matchup, and even J.D. McKissick against the Bucs. Yeah. I could see that game being kind of a play behind, dumping it down to him and him getting a lot of carries and swing passes. So I think that's a solid play on his part. So for a lot of those reasons, I'm going to also go with Ben this week.
I love that McKissick start.
I didn't play it when I made the pick, but technically picking Ben is...
Mike's against the expert's pick. Are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
Sometimes I get so caught up in my hosting duties, I forget to hit my own drops. But no, yeah, I maybe feel like Ben should be closer to an even line or favored in this one. I really like his team, but the line is what the line is. So I'll take the against the experts on it. Moving on to our next matchup, we got the Taint Ticklers at 5-4 taking on Archduke Fish at 5-4. Dukes are a 2-point favorite in this one. Jeff, I'm going to give you the option. How do you want to do this? You want me and Nick to make our cases first and you close us out, or do you want to lead us off and give your pick first?
I'll be the tiebreaker. I want to hear what I think I know which direction both you guys are going, but I want you guys one way to sway me here. So I'll let you guys
in Mike's direction.
I'm gonna pick myself. Shocker. Yeah, no. You look at my team. I put up 111 points last week with a garbage quarterback play. I think getting Tom Brady back pretty much puts my team in a real solid position. Another big thing, I'm gonna pick Mike Evans as the top scoring receiver this week. been kind of picking my guys pretty consistently, and I kind of went into this week and said, all right, I'm not going to pick my own player. Been doing too much of that.
Here we are.
But Chris Godwin, no practice today. Antonio Brown still not back to practice. The Bucs just signed Darren Fells and Rashad Perryman, telling me that they need to add depth to both their tight end and wide receiver positions, which tells me Gronk probably isn't going to play this week either. So if Mike Evans is alone, Washington is the number one team to giving up points to the wide receiver position. I'm going to roll with Mike Evans just having an electric day if he's really by himself there. So that's a big factor here. Jonathan Taylor against Jacksonville, another juicy matchup for me. I'm going with me here, not to mention Nick's injuries, but I'll let him get into that. So Nick, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, I might make the case to pick Mike. I have 4 guys injured going into this week. I think every single one of them missed practice this on Wednesday.
No Keenan, no Godwin, no Kamara. I don't know if Gibby practiced. No Russell though.
Against the Bucs though is a tough one.
And no Russell, yeah. It's Gibby against the Bucs, tough one. We talked about that, how we really like that McKissick start. And you've seen Gibby when he's been hurt, he really has not been involved in the passing downs at all. It's been all McKissick. Kamara, that hurts really bad. I really hope he can play here. Same with Keenan Allen. Godwin, is that injury minor? I'm reading about it. It says it's minor to his knee.
Yeah. Godwin?
Hopefully, maybe. I thought it was his foot also. So.
Minor knee and ankle injuries.
Oh, cocksucker!
All right.
I mean, I have Pittman.
Pittman will see a solid play.
Looking at Mike's side of the ball, though, we got those 2 Baltimore receivers on Thursday night. You don't like that, Jeff? You don't like the Thursday night play? Over under 46.5? I bet it. I'm taking the under on that game. That's all I got. That's all I have. I mean, I'm starting Cobb in my flex spot. I don't love that either. So,
before you go, Jeff, I'm demanding this as my double up.
Ooh,
I'm taking myself
pretty confident. Okay.
What if I don't want to take it on the double up?
You don't have to.
I'm picking myself. I'm picking myself. By the way,
I go +2 on a win. I go -2 on a loss.
Oh, okay.
This has nothing to do with you. You get your own double ups.
He says, "Shut up, dude."
Stay out of this.
But, Jeff, what do you got here?
No, I'm going to go with what I had written down, and pretty easily I'm going to pick Mike on this one. That 2-point line is just too small. I don't like Thursday night matchups, but the Dolphins, I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Ravens are going to put up a lot of points against them. So, Tom Brady coming back, Mike, you hit on that. Mike Evans, he's going to have a good game. There's just a lot here. Kittle's now in your lineup too. I like that. Nick, there's too much uncertainty with your guys. Even if they play, are they going to be 100%? Are they going to get banged out? I guess any one of these guys could go down with an injury at any point. But, if you come into a game kind of limped up, it kind of hurts a little bit more. I also have a player in this matchup that kind of is one of the reasons that I'm leaning this way. So
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
Yeah, this week's Jeff just keep on cooking is Jonathan Taylor. He's got a favorable matchup against the Jaguars. He just had a dominant performance last week, and for that, I just see him putting up another probably 2-touchdown game, getting above that 20-point threshold, and kind of running away with this one. So all that's going to play into my decision, and I'm going to roll with you, Mike, here.
Jonathan Taylor too. 6 straight games of 100 yards and a touchdown.
Oh God, so scary.
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the double up on. I'm not going to copy Mike on the double up. I'll save that for later or a different matchup. So
do I have to double up just because Mike doubled up and it's a host battle?
You could.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
I mean, if you weren't soft, you would.
Oh, you guys just want to come back. But I'm taking it as my double up, bitches. I got faith in myself. You're the taint.
You're the taint.
All right, well,
Let's go.
A lot right on that one.
Travis has me winning this one. I've been missing my Travis
Travis.
picks here, but what have we got? Travis has got Benny taking down the lefties. He's got Grizzly taking down Cobra, and he's got the football team taking on the Mud Dogs. None of those were his lock, though, so TBD.
Ooh.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Jay's Juggernauts at 1-8 taking on Lick McCaff and Medak at 3-6. Lick McCaff is the 11-point favorite here. Jeff, I'm gonna let you lead it off. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with myself here. I think kind of the big thing to keep an eye on is Prescott versus Ryan. They play each other, so I see that one being kind of a air it out back and forth. I'm hoping that Matt Ryan can hold up and be close to what Dak puts out there. I think Jordan has a little bit of an advantage at the quarterback spot, but I've been liking what I see out of Ryan there. My matchups aren't great by any means. I'm forced with rolling with Raymond at this point. I really was hoping Curtis Samuel was going to be available as kind of a dual threat guy, but I just don't see him coming back this week. And if he is, I don't know if I'm going to roll with him or not. But big thing to keep an eye on for my side is that health of the Patriots backfield there. If Harris is active, I'll roll with him. If Stevenson is active and Harris is out, I'll probably roll with Stevenson. But if they're both out, I really like that Brandon Bolden play down there. So I think there's a potential for him to get a lot of early down end passes out of the backfield. So I don't hate my lineup this week, but I like it enough to roll with myself on this one. 11 points is a little high for me, in my opinion. So that's where I'm rolling.
Yeah, and you get the benefit of owning every single Patriots running back that is available. So no matter what, you got a play going there. So
yep.
This one was tough for me. I think I'm gonna go with Jord. I'm gonna go with Lick McCaff. I have to imagine that McCaffrey another week in is gonna be more integrated. He's gonna rock out with a pretty solid day. Leonard Fournette, I know he doesn't have him in the lineup right now, but I have to imagine he's sliding into that flex spot. I took that into account for the line itself, so got him coming in there, and I think with those plays, he's got enough to get it done. 11 points is a little much. It's on the high end of what I feel comfortable taking, but I'm still going to take Jordan here. Nick, how about you?
I think I'm gonna roll with Jeff on this one. A little counter action with Cooper and Dak. Hopefully it goes Cooper's way a lot. I don't know about McCaffrey. That Arizona defense is tough. Over under 44 points, and Sam Darnold is booty hole.
Sam Darnold is out for
is he?
The game.
Yep.
PJ Walker.
Oh. Still, I don't even know. I don't even know if I like it more. I don't know if I like it more. Jones should have a way better game, and we talked about Fournette. I didn't think about Fournette when I picked Jeff, but Jeff, I'm rolling with you because it was so close last week, and you're gonna pick up your second one here.
I like it.
Travis has faith in Lick McCaff. He thinks Lick McCaff takes the win. He did say he would have picked Jeff, but Jeff let him down last week, so he can't do it again.
I'm sorry, Travis. I tried.
Not hard enough, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to our last matchup, we got Ball is Life at 5-4 taking on Old Man Joe at 4-5. Ball is Life is a 20-point favorite in this one. We got the Dad Bowl coming in. I see some side bets are going on the Dad Bowl here. Jeff, you're going to get this one first. What you got?
And 20 points, you said?
That's a lot.
That is a lot, especially with looking at like Joe's side of his wide receivers. I still like that group that he has there. He's rolling with some rookie running backs. Kirk Cousins playing. I think it's a get right game for Stafford and Henderson against a not so great 49ers defense. So I'm going to roll with John here, even though it's 20 points. I think he's got enough in there. I'm going to pick Metcalf as my highest scoring wide receiver this week, and that's part of the reason we've seen the Green Bay defense and those cornerbacks not be the greatest. And so with Russell back, I could see those guys just airing it out and throwing it all over the place. So I'm going to go with John here and cover that 20 points there.
Nick, I'm going to toss it to you next. What do you got on this one?
Another tough one. That is a lot of points, especially coming off last week where Balls Life didn't do too hot. I think I'm also going to have John covering that. I know Ayuk has been playing a lot better, and against the Rams, they're probably going to have to pass the ball a little bit, I assume, with Stafford getting right, like Jeff was talking about. Moore, once again, he's just been so disappointing the last couple of weeks. I don't think you can even expect the projected point total for him.
Backup QB in there too. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, is he really a backup? Are they on the same page? Maybe. I don't even know. They might just both be bad. So, AJ Brown, he's limited practice, so he was practicing against Saints. 30, giving up the 30, a lot of points against the opposing wide receivers. So that should be a pretty high scoring game. Even the scoring total over under is 44.5 for that. I see the over on that personally, but yeah, I'm going with John here. I think he has enough. Keenan Allen, even if he's like a decoy and if he plays, Mike Williams might get right game here against Minnesota's crappy defense in a game we already highlighted being pretty high scoring. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with John as well. And oddly, for a reason that none of you guys brought up, but Najee Harris against Detroit. I mean, if the Eagles running backs can put up 4 touchdowns, it wouldn't surprise me if Najee Harris put up 4 touchdowns.
Just gets blanketed.
What?
Yeah, Pittsburgh doesn't. They don't use any other backs. It's all Najee all the time. So in a game against a team that you can run all over, in a game that they should be up, I mean, Pittsburgh's nothing special. So if Detroit won this game, it wouldn't surprise me. But they're favored by 9 points. So they should be up. Najee should be running the ball. I think he's gonna go nuclear on him. You guys mentioned a lot of other guys that I think are going to be solid. I think the rest of his guys do plenty, but Najee's really the difference for me in a 20-point game that makes me feel comfortable taking the top end there. And Travis also has some faith in Ball.
On lockdown. Well, here's the
Travis
that's got the picks on lock.
So Travis has got Ball's Life as his lock. So that's the Travis Clark lock of the week.
I love that so much.
All right. Well, that's our last matchup for the day. So let's hit it.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
Mike, we'll see how much faith you have in your co-host. This week's Mike's Will It Happen is, will your co-host accurately pick both the GTA and Keep On Cooking players this week?
Oh, God, no.
It will not happen.
I can't wait to prove him wrong, Nick.
That'll be so awesome.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
Oh, God, no.
Keep On
All
Cooking's
right,
a pretty much lock, but mine is not.
Let's hop into it.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Shut up, baby. I know it. Absolute guarantee.
Well, I made it all the way to this point in the show without knowing what my guarantee is. So, Jeff, why don't you lead us off?
Nice.
We talked a lot about that Lefty and Benny and the Jets matchup and two teams that are on the higher end of scoring each week. But my absolute guarantee is that matchup won't be the highest scoring. I'm going to take the field. Someone else is going to
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Taking the field. Nick, what you got?
So my shut up, baby, I know it guarantee is that Higbee will score a touchdown this week. We talked about it earlier. He's dropped down to the 10th most red zone targets among all wide receivers and tight ends at 14 targets this year. But I think he's going to grab a touchdown here. First one since week 5 he's due. And he got one taken away last week. Did you guys see that at all?
No, I didn't.
Oh, but yeah, I think I know what text you're talking about because
His foot was out of bounds. No, he didn't. I don't think it was so close.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
All right. Well, my shut up, baby, I know it guarantee is that Cooley's quarterback will have more rushing yards than both of his starting running backs.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
No faith in Mike Davis and Myles Gaskin to give us.
Probably a great bet.
Yeah,
actually.
Mike. I don't even know if Mike Davis is going to play much now. I mean, they were running the ball at the end of the game, and all he had to do was basically fall down, and he fumbled it. And luckily, they recovered it. As soon as that happened, I was like, he's gone. He's done. Cut him.
That's disgusting. All right, well, with all that out of the way, good luck to everyone, unless you're Nick or playing against Jeff.
Hey, dude. Dude, wish me luck.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.
Year of the tape.